Hello and welcome to Quick Take TA here on Landy's Crypto Corner. Today is June 21st, 2024. And, well, 555, brothers and sisters. For those that don't get that, go ahead and listen to the latest Extra Ordinals Spaces event. Very, very cool stuff going on over there. But we are here to take a look at Bitcoin on the daily because we did observe Bitcoin coming down to our next area of interest. And that really is not a big surprise. Bitcoin continues to close, below the lower first standard deviation on the Bollinger Band, so this shouldn't shock anyone. But the next big area of interest here is the top side of the higher low of this prior uptrend. And we did get a spike into this area with the low coming in at around 63,300. So not quite 63K, but splitting the difference between our target zone there at around 63 to 63 and a half. And that was all born upon losing the $65,000 area in the day prior's close, and that was the Thursday candle. So we talked about this yesterday. If Bitcoin were not to regain around the $65,000 level or lose it, it's more likely to go down and test 64K and under, down into the 63 to 63 and a half. Now you can see the lower second standard deviation is down there. And quite frankly, it's still a likely candidate to get hit. So as long as Bitcoin is trading below, $65,000, if it dips back below 64K again, where we do see price kind of hanging out right now, it is an area to pay attention to. Anywhere below there, like I've mentioned before, I'm looking somewhere around 62 and a half to 62K by this order block, set of order block candles over here, all the way down to around 61,000 or slightly under to the close open of that higher low structure down there at 60,800. So keep that in mind. It is a weekend, so usually a little less liquidity. And especially, this Friday candle was, occurred during a very big event in the markets overall, and that is the quad witching. So lots of options expiries going on Friday. So we did see lower term time frame volatility. It wasn't actually that much, though, to be quite honest. It was fairly tame, all things considered. But, there's a lot of liquidity still available market-wide coming into next week that will be deployed in various manners. So I would keep an eye out for a potential reversal pretty soon in terms of price action, but I'm not really talking trend reversal just yet. It's more of a upside move, and then we evaluate from there. So what would that criteria be? Well, if Bitcoin can hang out above this higher low structure at around 60,800 to $60,000 at the wick low there, 60,150 on spot price here, I would look for, at minimum, a fairly nice bounce up. Even if it did head down lower. So even though I am looking and am going to be talking about some bounce setups, that does not rule out that price pushes lower before we actually get confirmation of a bounce in progress. So where does Bitcoin need to start closing to set a daily low now? Well, the criteria has actually come down a little bit. And from a price action perspective, Bitcoin just needs to close above around $65,000, and we would see a daily higher low being set. And, that would start to look good for at least a test up to this wick from Thursday at the high there, where it did spike the close open and reject the lower first standard deviation and the close open from Monday into Tuesday. That was around $66,500. Bitcoin still has some work to do, even if it were to push up here. Again, it needs to break the downtrend. So wherever it puts in a low, it needs to break the downtrend. Currently, to break this downtrend, we need to see closures above the 67,272. So that criteria has not changed. That was, of course, this lower high, the first big lower high before the correction down, the further correction down past our big monthly closing high zone here, where the October of 2021 monthly closing high is coming in at 61,350. And then we have the closing high of March of 2021, which was not only a monthly, but a quarterly. So in this case, there is some stuff to pay attention to down in this area here. And, I wouldn't be too concerned if Bitcoin did test down further. Where I would start to look at maybe some longer form structural changes happening, and not necessarily bearish in the long, not necessarily bearish overall in terms of the bull market structure, but more bearish in the near term to go into a further reaccumulation period. Would be on breaks below and closes specifically below $60,000 that start testing down towards that monthly and quarterly. So, that's where, I'd be a little bit concerned about the bull players' health in this market, at least in that probably till the end of summer, to be quite honest, into fall. Now, that doesn't rule out, of course, that bounces further up don't get rejected as well. So right now, it's a downtrend. It's intact. It's getting expansion of the Bollinger Bands down. But you will notice here that my BBWP, or the volatility metric, is still in a bit of a cool down state. So why is that? Because we had the move down, which came on expansion. We had a move up that came on expansion. And then this is a return to the mean. So, it's still sitting around middle of the range here. In terms of volume statistics and all that, it's actually below some important areas. I would just tell you that basically it closes back above $65,000 are going to be much, much better for the bulls in the near term. Let's go ahead and look at the Stochd Momentum Indicator now. This is a regular Stochd. I know I say this all the time for you guys and gals that listen regularly, but it does need to be said for some of the newer people here. This is not a Stochd RSI. Stochd RSI measures the velocity or speed of the RSI, which is already derived based on price. It's a relative strength index. In this case, we don't need an indicator of an indicator because we're already using RSI. So I use a regular Stochd, which measures close over close price momentum based on your actual closing prices. So in this case, you can also see that the pivot for the daily momentum indicator here, the regular Stochd, to turn the K over the D read is going to be 64,800. Again, I want to see closes above $65,000, set a daily low, and set the swing or wick low as well. So that's what I would want to see from here in the next daily, that being the Saturday candle. And let's bump down to some lower term. Well, actually, let's talk about this. Bitcoin is in an area where it can throw bullish divergence from multiple places, and that being of the hidden bullish divergence variety, usually good for a bounce. It is not ready yet, I can tell you that right now, but the opportunity is still there for the bulls to get some bull divs populating. Currently, the price structure as it relates to where the higher low of the prior uptrend is, Bitcoin is still there above there in terms of price structure, and it is below there in terms of the RSI. So that would be this area of RSI over here. You can see that the RSI is below that. RSI is also now below this pretty important low over here, and it's even encroaching on the actual lower low of the overall structure here on the daily and longer term timeframes. So in this case, Bitcoin can throw bullish divergence from this area right here, which is right at that 61,300 on a close, had those few wicks down slightly below $60,000 in the 69.5 zone. And it can throw bullish divergence, hidden bullish divergence again from this higher low structure as well. So, there is the opportunity for the bulls to potentially get some closes that look quite a bit bouncier within the range. And, if price doesn't breach any of this, structure here, and not the actual lower low structure, it can also get bullish divergence from that area. It is starting to get very, very close to that lower low in terms of RSI. So Now, hidden bullish divergences are not going to be as powerful as a regular in-trend bullish divergence. That is where price is making lower lows, but RSI is making higher lows. In this case, that's not even available. So what bulls want to see from here is a nice bounce that results in maybe another rejection, but holding higher low structure while throwing regular bullish divergence from within the range and more hidden bullish divergences as well. There is the possibility that it could do that, where it goes in for a trend break, maybe pushes really high up to $69,000, then comes back down in higher low fashion, but makes in terms of whatever structure it builds, starts to build regular bullish divergence while holding some sort of a higher low or equal low structure. That's really what we're going to be looking for a nice longer term move to the upside. Here on the 12-hour, bulls, giving up this edge of the bearish control zone here for the 12-hour. Nothing too crazy here. There's no in-trend bullish divergence as it stands right now. It would only be hidden bullish divergence from some of the areas over here, that prior uptrending structure, which again, good for a bounce, not necessarily a full on trend reversal until we start seeing a low set, a higher high, and then a higher low structure or equal low structure being built. Here on the 12-hour, this has been a very structured walk down all the way, coming from all the way back here on the 6th. So it's been about 15 days down or something like that, 14 days down to 15 days down. So, would not be out of the question to look for a nice bounce pretty soon here. It's just a matter of, how much further is this going to go before it gets that. 64,100 is going to be the momentum pivot for this next 12-hour candle. Of course, we will have to see if it can follow through on the next 12-hour candle after that, which would close with the Saturday candle coming into Sunday. 8-hour is looking down below 64,500. Of course, Bitcoin just breaching below $64,000 here. 6-hour is still down below 64,128. It's a little bit closer to price action. You can see that on these lower term time frames, we are getting that nice in-trend bullish divergence. So got the lower lows and then the higher lows on RSI up there. Now the 4-hour is getting into some bouncy territory. If it can hold this current area through the next couple of 4-hour closures, above 63.5, would start to turn that momentum oscillator back up. From the 4-hour perspective, though, got to see closures above 64,420. Nice. And that would start to, reclaim this low side structure that was lost, that is being rejected. A nice bullish reclaim of that. And then I would look up to $65,000, maybe, 65.5 above there. And then if we start seeing that area, being held coming into the daily close, then we can start entertaining the possibility of a daily low being set. Now, again, it's over the weekend, so I would exercise some caution, both to the upside and the downside. I would just be a little bit more cautious with what's happening here. I do think that Bitcoin is in an opportunity zone, anywhere around here and lower. It's getting fairly close to production cost, and production cost is, sitting around $60,000. So nothing too crazy there. Let's check up on a few other things here before I let you go. We had the 2-day closure. We talked about the new 2-day yesterday. This remains the same. Keep an eye on right where Bitcoin is currently trading, around $64,000. We start seeing anything below there, then we can entertain a possibility of price replace band below the lower second down to that lower third at $62,000. So again, the high side of these candles at 63 on the daily, that would be the high side of the higher low structure. That's also the high side of the higher low structure on the 2-day at around that 63 to 63.5, anywhere below there. We're looking at basically 62 to 62.5, and then, so on and so forth. So nothing too crazy. This will close with today's daily candle. We can see that it is starting to get into that oversold zone. Doesn't mean anything, to be quite honest, when you're looking at a regular stoke, other than usually the biggest moves occur in and around the extremes. This case being the oversold zone, and then of course the the overbought zone up here. You know, the pivot's pretty far away. I want to see how the Saturday candle closes. I might even do a video over the weekend and go over some other coins, some alts and some rune coins and stuff like that, because opportunities for bounces are there. It wouldn't take much, but that of course doesn't rule out some further downside before those occur. And of course, being a weekend, I'm a little suspicious of price action on the weekends. 3-day we have closing with today's candle as well. So 2-day, 3-day. Do we have a 4-day? No. 2-day, 3-day. The 4-day, yeah, we talked about that yesterday. So 3-day again, lower first is a likely candidate because Bitcoin is trading below the basis here and the main support at $65,000. So, anywhere where it's trading right now, down to that lower first, which is coming in at 62.5. So it is fair game. Anywhere below there, and then it's 61,350 at that October monthly, all the way down to the actual lows, 58.8 to $59,000, maybe even lower at that monthly quarterly from March of 21. If Bitcoin can start crawling its way up, this is what I'm going to leave you with. If Bitcoin's going to start crawling its way out, it's going to do it off of the back of the lower second standard deviation. So you want to see that area held. It's basically right around, $63,000 even, right here on this close open structure on the top side. If it does hold that area, begins to push back above 65 and reclaim that lower first just above 65. Now, I would say 65K is probably going to be good enough because we're going to see residual expansion of the Bollinger Bands. I would say $65,000. Keep a very close eye then on 66.5 and then up to 67, 272, 274. You can even take 67,300 on most derivative exchanges. It's currently right around where the basis band is. If we do start seeing the basis band get recovered, which is just slightly above there at around 67.5, then we can start entertaining a trip back up to the top side of this swing high zone between 65 and 69. So somewhere around 68 to $69,000, and then slightly above to 70, and then right back to the highs, $71.5, $72,000 at the actual rejection up here. Then of course above there, looking to the highs and higher, 73,835 to 75K, 75, 78, 78 to 80, and then mid to low 80s from there. Then we come back to it because I do think that there might be a larger correction whenever Bitcoin does break out up that way, prior to going up and testing, $90,000 to $100,000, stuff like that. So don't get too depressed with price in the markets. I think it's presenting great opportunities to accumulate. Just understand alts are going to typically fall faster when Bitcoin is in this type of a downtrend. And of course, increasing its dominance. Excuse me. Sorry about the cough. I try to turn away. Don't get wrecked on fake 50-cent coins. Beware of anything celebrity related. Go check out the Extra Ordinals BRC 555 stuff, and Pepe Ordinals Maxis had an announcement that I do think you should check out as well. And then New Bitcoin Orders got some stuff cooking. So I do suggest that you go check that stuff out. Extra Ordinals, Pepe Ordinals Maxis main X accounts have all of the information you need. You can always follow my profile and go through some of my retweets and quote tweets, posts, I guess now, to get some extra information there. I will, I'm probably going to end up having to do a video over the weekend to go through some of the other stuff. There's a lot of stuff occurring market-wide that I do think is important to understand going forward. So you have a wonderful start to your weekend. Hopefully I will talk to you over the weekend. And either way, have a wonderful weekend. And I appreciate all of you who are following me. And I appreciate all of the projects that I'm a part of that have been very, very kind to myself. And have a great weekend. With all that said, got to do the normal outro. You have a wonderful morning, afternoon, and evening. No matter where you are in the world, please trade safe. And of course, as always, stay safe. And with all of that being said, Landy out. Kept it under 20 minutes. Still considered a quick take in my world. Take care.